Are you sick and tired of always getting outplayed in box fights in Fortnite Chapter 3 Season 4? If so, continue watching this video because I'm going to be teaching you 5 super useful box fighting tips with an extra simple to do bonus tip that you can use to win more box fights in Fortnite Chapter 3 Season 4. And we're starting right now. Okay, so the first tip I'm going to be teaching you is a safe way to take your opponent's wall. So what you would want to do is walk up to your opponent's front wall, build a stair right in front of you in front of your opponent's wall. Then you want to walk forwards towards your stair, then flip the direction of your stair to the other side by editing the stair. Now once you've done that, you can start pickaxing your opponent's wall and try to claim it for yourself. And if you get your opponent's wall in the first 2 tries, then you should be good to make an edit play on your opponent. However, there are many occasions where your opponent will just reclaim their wall before you can claim it for yourself. And when this happens, the opponent will most likely try and make an edit play on you and even sometimes try to piece control you. Now to avoid getting piece controlled by your opponent, you want to stay at the upper end of your stair and not go to the bottom parts of your stair. Since if you go to the bottom parts of your stair, your opponent will just make an edit play on you and piece control you by placing a cone above your stair and placing multiple walls surrounding you. And once your opponent's got you trapped, it's pretty much over for you. By staying in the upper ends of your stair, you can avoid this from happening to you. The only time you should go to the lower end of your stair is when you're trying to pickaxe their wall to claim it for yourself. And you could do this around halfway of your stair. So try not to go lower than halfway of your stair, even if you're trying to pickaxe your opponent's wall. Since when you're in the upper end of your stair, if your opponent makes an edit play on you and tries to piece control you by placing a cone on your stair, you could just jump up so you don't get trapped by your opponent. Also, I'd always recommend you be on your shotgun when you're not trying to pickaxe your opponent's wall, just in case your opponent makes an edit play, which in that case you can quickly take a shot at them. And if you're pickaxing your opponent's wall and your opponent makes an edit play on you, your first instinct should be to pull out your shotgun, take a shot at your opponent and jump at the same time, since the shotgun shot will allow you to do a lot of damage to your opponent and the jump will allow you to avoid getting piece controlled. Staying in the upper end of your stair will allow you to escape getting trapped by your opponent, since they usually place a cone at the top of your stair to piece control you and trap you in. So yeah, definitely use this tip to safely claim your opponent's front wall instead of just running straight up to their front wall and claiming it like that, since doing that is very risky, since in that case you'll be an easy target to get shot at and also piece control. You can also use this tip from above your opponent's box. All you would have to do is jump down to one of your opponent's front walls and place a stair, and then you could try and claim one of your opponent's walls. Now in this case you can also trick your opponent. So if you're at the top of your opponent's box, instead of just straight away jumping down to one of your opponent's front walls and building a stair, you could build multiple stairs in front of your opponent's walls and then randomly drop down from one side. This will allow you to be less predictable to your opponent of which wall you're going to try and take. So you could build a stair on one side and then jump down a different side and build a stair, and then you can attempt to take your opponent's wall. Now the reason why I recommend doing this when you're jumping down from the top of your opponent's box, it will stop your opponent from straight away just making an edit play on you as soon as you jump down to one of their front walls. It will also keep them distracted and allow you to claim one of their walls more easily. So yeah, definitely start using this tip to more safely take your opponent's front wall. Now the second tip is a very simple one to do, but I see a lot of people make a mistake while doing it. So that's why I decided to talk about it in this video. And here's the shot you do when you do a top right corner edit. So the mistake a lot of people make while taking this shot is that they take a shot by jumping, taking a shot and going back down. Now at first that doesn't seem like it's a mistake. However, there's a much better way of doing this. So the first position you want to be in is the middle of your box, and then depending on which top right corner you edited, you would want to jump the opposite way after you take the shot. So in this example I edited the top right corner of the wall. So when I take a shot while jumping, I would want to go towards the left side. So how you'd want to take this shot is be at an angle where your opponent can't shoot at you. Then you want to jump up, take a shot with your weapon, ideally the shotgun. Then you want to move your character towards cover. Now by doing this, instead of just jumping up, taking a shot and going back down, is that it will provide you with extra protection. It will also give you a higher chance of not getting shot by your opponent. So by doing this, you'll be able to take shots at your opponent while being as protected as possible. You can even crouch and take cover while also taking peek shots, which can come in very handy. Now simple things like this increases the chance of you winning more box fights. So yeah, I would highly recommend you start using this as well. The third tip I'm going to be teaching you is how to counter the top right corner edit. So when your opponent makes the top right corner edit on you, what you would want to do is quickly build a stair to protect yourself from your opponent's shot and any other further shots from your opponent. Then once you've done that, you want to quickly edit your stair while your opponent still has their top right corner wall opened. And the way you want to edit the stair, so you want to edit the front 2 tiles of your wall, and then depending on what side of your opponent's wall is opened, you would want to edit the opposite side of it. So in this example, I would have to edit 2 tiles from the front and 1 to the right side. And after you do that, you can slide straight into your opponent's box. And then of course you could quickly eliminate them so that the opponent doesn't expect it. You can also just edit the whole stair in the direction of the opening. So in this example, it will be from the left straight onwards. Whichever one you choose to do is up to you because they're equally as good. You can also do the single ramped. Now the reason why this tip is very very effective is that it's very unpredictable, since after your opponent does the top right corner edit on you, they will most likely think that you're going to try and edit out of your box in any way possible. However, you're going to make an edit play on them without them expecting it. Of course, to pull this off, you would have to do it quickly. So if you would want to be able to do this quickly, I'll definitely recommend you practice it in creative to get really good at doing these. Also, if your opponent doesn't have a cone or a stair in their box, you can literally piece control them with a cone as soon as you get into their box to stop them from building stairs to protect themselves. So when you make the edit play and go straight into their box, you could place a cone if they haven't built a cone or stair themselves, although it isn't necessary to do so even if they don't have a cone or stair. However, it would be helpful to stop them from building stairs to protect themselves. And then after that, whether you place the cone in their box or not, you can spray your opponent with your SMG and AR and take shotgun shots at them to eliminate them very quickly. Now, although this looks like you're taking a 50-50, I wouldn't say it is, since you'll have the upper hand because your opponent will most likely not be able to predict this move. That's why in most cases, if you pull this off, you should be able to win that gunfight. So yeah, just practice this technique in creative and you'll be able to implement this technique into your game in no time. Now, the fourth tip is good for when someone is spraying into your box, and in this case you could do two different things, but in my opinion, if the opponent's just spraying into your box, they should quickly take a shot at them and then build your wall back. However, if they're trying to spray and get into your box, I'd recommend you build a stair in your box and keep rebuilding your wall until they need to reload their weapon again. And in that situation, you can edit out in many different ways. You can edit out from your right or left side by doing a top corner edit. You can edit the wall right behind you to get out of that box, or even edit from above by single or double editing. However, I don't recommend editing out from the top unless you want to fight back straight away, since if you want to get cover first to heal up, I wouldn't recommend editing from the top to get out. However, if you want to attack your opponent straight away, feel free to do so. So when you edit out from one of the areas, if your opponent's still spraying into your box in that time, if you edit it out from the sides or behind you, you could go around here if your opponent is just about to go into your box or is in your box, and you can make a quick edit play and take a shot at your opponent. You can also build a cone to where you built your stair before, and you could also edit the cone in any way you like, making the cone super useful in many situations. However, it's not too important because even though it stops your opponent from placing a stair to protect themselves, the cone can also be used to hide behind your shots. So do as you wish. Another thing you could do when your opponent is spraying inside your box and is trying to get inside it is to have your building menu out, and just as your opponent is about to phase inside your box, you want to run out your box in the direction of where the opponent is, turn around and quickly build a stair to trap your opponent inside your box. Now, I'd recommend you rebuild your wall a couple of times when your opponent is trying to phase inside your box, because in rare occasions the opponent will know what you're trying to do and they might be able to counter it and eliminate you before you can escape. So by doing that, it will increase the chance of the technique working. So when you've done the technique and it worked, you now have full piece control over your opponent, and if you place the cone inside your opponent's box, you have every single piece available to you to edit in any way you like, and you can always edit around with the cone if your opponent's trying to use it as cover from your shots. So yeah, this tip is very good to counter people that spray into your box, and in those occasions I'd highly recommend you use these to counter people spraying into your box. Now, the fifth tip I'm going to be teaching you is a phasing technique. Now, the way you do this is make your opponent's wall low on health. However, don't fully break it, since if you do that, your opponent will just rebuild the wall. So once you got your opponent's wall low on health, you want to pull out any gun, ideally a shotgun or sniper, but you could do this with any weapon. So what you'd want to do is run into your opponent's box while it's low on health, and just when you're about to touch the wall, you want to quickly take a shot, and if you time it right, you'll be able to phase through your opponent's box without letting them rebuild the wall before you get into their box. Since with building, there's always a little bit of a delay, and this phasing technique takes advantage of that delay. So yeah, you can even do this with SMGs, ARs, pistols, and even with a pickaxe. Now, at first, it may be hard to get the timing right, which is why I recommend you practice it in creative a couple of times to get the hang of it, because you have to shoot with your weapon or hit with your pickaxe at the exact right time to be able to phase into your opponent's box. Now, you can do this to any building material, even floors, which means you can phase into your opponent's box from the top as well, especially if they don't have a double layered roof, which is why I always recommend you build a roof and a cone on top of your box to stop things like this, and just overall making it harder for your opponent to get inside your box from the top. So if you're trying to phase through the roof like this, you also got to shoot with your weapon or hit with your pickaxe at the right time to phase inside your opponent's box. So yeah, this is a very powerful technique that I'd recommend you take advantage of, since it can also allow you to end gunfights super fast. The last tip is a small bonus tip, and it is to build cones inside your box and on the roof of your box for many different reasons. The big one being having more piece control. It also stops your opponent from claiming that piece, which means inside the box, it will prevent your opponent from placing stairs to protect themselves from your shots. Now, I know I talked about cones a lot in this video, and that is because cones are very powerful, especially in box fights. They also give you extra protection and can be used to take cover from your opponent's shots and even take peek shots at your opponent. You can even use cones to piece control your opponents in many different ways. The benefits of cones are endless, so please start using cones more more often in your games, especially when you're boxed up. And in boxed up situations, you'd want to place a cone inside your box and on your roof for the many different reasons I said before. So yeah, use cones more often to your advantage. If you found this video useful, consider subscribing to the channel and turn on the notification bell to never miss out on any new amazing videos I upload. And if you're struggling to level up fast in Fortnite Chapter 3 Season 4, click onto the video on the screen right now and it will teach you tons of tips to help you level up fast in Fortnite Chapter 3 Season 4. And if you haven't dropped a like on the video yet, feel free to do so now. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.